plans. I knew cookies, Disney movies, and kite flying were just a few of the things on the agenda. The Gulf Coast had practically turned into relative central for us. My brother Ben, who had followed in Mitch's footsteps and become an Air Force pilot, was stationed at a military base about an hour away from our hotel. His assignment in the spring had been one of the reasons we'd planned the beach vacation. He wouldn't have much time off, but he had promised that he'd be able to get away for at least a day, maybe 2, so we could spend some time together. Nathan turned in a stiff-legged circle and set off on a path toward the mailbox. Livy fluttered along in his wake, jauntily swinging her own pail. I sat down on the bumper of the minivan with a sigh. I knew the kids would have a great time with Summer. Their time with her was supposed to be a little interlude just for them at the beginning of the vacation. We wanted the bulk of our time to be spent together as a family. Mitch and I spend so much of our time separated, sometimes for a week or 2, but other times for months on end. The stop-and-go schedule made family time precious, and that's what we wanted this week off to be. Time together. I really wanted this to be a family vacation.
I know. I did too. I'll get there as soon as I can,
he repeated. I know you will. It just won't be as much fun until you get here. A FedEx truck rolled to a stop at the end of our driveway. Livy and Nathan stopped playing and watched the delivery man sprint toward me. Mitch said he'd call when he had more news, and we hung up. By the time I'd signed for the box, the kids were hovering.
Who's it from?
Livy asked.
Who's it for? Me?
Nathan demanded. Because we lived far away from our relatives, a package delivery usually meant it was close to someone's birthday or a major holiday. No, this time it's for me, I said. I recognized the name on the return address. Angela's Boutique, my favorite online store for designer handbags. My weakness. I'm not a fashionista, as my current attire showed. Denim skirt, sleeveless white shirt, casual sandals. With my hair pulled back in a ponytail, I was ready to pack the van and negotiate a 6-hour road trip with 2 elementary school-age kids in 90% humidity. Cool and functional. Those were my watchwords when it came to my everyday clothes. I did dress up a bit for my organizing consultations, but when it came down to the nitty-gritty of actually sorting and organizing a client's belongings, I found that basic work clothes like jeans and tennis shoes were the best options. My friend Abby, who did have a flair for looking spectacular, lamented my uninteresting clothing choices. Basic but boring, she called them. But she couldn't complain about my purses. They were my one indulgence. I loved designer handbags, especially ones that I found at thrift shops and online auctions, like the one inside this box. It was a Leah Marshall, a chic, oversized tote. If the exterior cream leather with heavy gold hardware seemed a bit bland, the interior lining of stripes in hot pink, black, and Kelly green gave the bag a fun accent.
Oh, it's just one of Mom's purses,
Nathan said with a sigh and reversed course back to the foot of the driveway. I pulled the tab on the box as I walked inside, already planning to switch to the new purse before we left. In the kitchen, I pushed the crumpled packing paper aside and pulled out the purse, expecting to inhale the aroma of leather. But all I could smell was cardboard? The strap felt stiff as I twisted the purse around to examine it. The leather wasn't leather at all. It was a rough pleather. The hardware was flimsy, the stitching on the seams wavered about, and the lining was a bumpy black silk that didn't lie flat against the structure of the purse. This wasn't a genuine Leah Marshall. Even the name imprint on the small leather tag that dangled from the strap had the designer's name misspelled as Lee instead of Leah. It certainly wasn't the purse I'd paid for. This was a knockoff. I dropped the purse back into the nest of packing paper and flipped the lid over to check the address. This wasn't like Angela. I'd bought several things from her and had never had a problem. In fact, she'd become a cyber friend, one of those people I chatted with online and think of as an acquaintance, even though I hadn't met her in person. I went to my computer and fired off a quick email to Angela495, the email associated with her online boutique. I also had Angela's private email because in the last month or so, she and Ben had dated a few times. I scrolled through my old email, looking for the first email I'd received from her.